Hello again, Year 11, and welcome to our sixth and last video here for our first topic. Now, in 206, we're going to change the subject of a formula, which is very much like what we've done in 205, where we evaluated a formula where our unknown is not the subject. Okay, if I have something like, if we go back to that really simple example, area equals length times breadth, knowing the area and the length, I could find the breadth. What we're doing in exercise 206 is a very similar thing, but without the substitution. Okay, we're essentially going to do all the same stuff, but instead of putting those numbers in at the beginning, we're going to make the same changes, but still using our pronumerals, such that we arrive at a new formula at the end with the desired subject. So instead of saying area equals length times breadth, we're going to come up with a formula that says breadth equals area divided by the length. Right? It's the same relationship, it's just organised or just sort of displayed, expressed in a different way, right? In such a way that might be helpful in a different context. Okay, so change subject formula. Essentially, you solve the equation for the desired subject, but without substitution, so that your final answer will be, x equals whatever, but it's not going to be a number, it's still going to be another algebraic expression. Here's an example. I have the volume for, what's pi r squared h? Looks like the volume of a cylinder to me, or I could have just read the question, that would help you. Okay, here's the formula for the volume of a cylinder. R is the radius of the circular base, h is the height. I want an equation for the height of a cylinder with relation to the volume and the radius. Okay, so I need to make h the subject. Here we go. So my volume equals pi r squared h, and I want it to say h equals something. Well, really we can do this in one very quick step, but let's just do it a bit more slowly. I'm going to first of all divide both sides by pi. Therefore, my volume over pi equals r squared h. Rightio, we're getting a little bit closer there. Now I'm going to divide both sides by r squared. Volume over pi r squared equals h. And then I'm just going to write it the other way around, because, well, that's pretty much your answer. It's much neater to say that h is your subject equals v over pi r squared. Okay, so there we go. H is the subject of that formula. It's like solving. It's like solving where you don't have the subject, but instead of substituting, we just leave those pronumerals as they are. That's it. That's changing the subject of formula. They can get pretty complicated, especially when you've got things like squares and square roots and whatever else. Now, if I said make r the subject of this formula, that's trickier. And you know what? The video's pretty short so far. Let's just have a look and see how that goes. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to say, make r the subject. R the subject. How do we do that? Well, let's come back here. I'm going to say, therefore, I'm going to say v over pi h equals r squared. Can you see what I've done there? I've divided both sides by pi h, and I've got r squared. Now, how do I get from an r squared to r? I've got to take the square root. Square root of both sides. So therefore, the square root of v over pi h equals r, or just to be neat and tidy, r equals the square root of v over pi h. Okay? Rightio, so that's a little more complicated. Anyhow, that is changing the subject of formula, and that gets us through to the first topic, formulas and equations. Okay, hope you've enjoyed it so far. We'll have a topic test coming up soon. I will, of course, see you in class.